All right, welcome back to the show. We've talked about downtown already. We've talked about real estate stats on a macro market level, but let's remember that all housing markets are local, and one of the greatest places on the planet is Coronado. Here joining us in studio is our good friend with Del Coronado Realty, Miss Ruth Ann Fisher. Good to have you on here. And we also have Bruce Linder, the Executive Director of the Coronado Historical Association. I got that right?
Right.
I had to write it down, but I got it. So we're going to talk about historic homes, what's happening in the market, all this amazing thing with luxury real estate. But first of all, what is new in Coronado besides that I'm in the market?
Besides you?
Trying to figure out how do you accomplish the American dream in such an amazing place. I didn't even know what I didn't know about Coronado. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. And I really want to make that point. It's not this ridiculously expensive land of all the wealthy. It is such an amazing place. The social scene is fun. An Uber is 3 minutes to get downtown. I went to the game this week.
Airport.
Took 3 minutes to get an Uber. The traffic's not bad. It is a hidden gem. I mean, it's an obvious gem, but it's also surprisingly a hidden gem because of the affordability to rent, to own down there. So thank you for opening up my eyes.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
It is, I feel welcomed.
Good.
So tell me about it. What's new there? What's fun?
Did you make it to the flower show?
I saw them.
Okay.
I'm not.
You saw
would
them?
you expect me to necessarily go to the flower show on a Saturday?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe the beer garden.
I did ride the beach
going.
cruiser by the flower show.
Okay, very good.
And it smelled nice.
And you can cruise up and down the neighborhoods and look at the houses with the blue ribbons.
So we saw it on the way, just to tell a quick story, we cruised past the flower show last week, went all the way up to the ferry, threw bikes on the ferry, took the ferry across, went to a ball game, hung out downtown, took the ferry back. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. So let's talk about stats. If someone wanted to buy there or sell, what's going on in the real estate market?
Market has definitely picked up. Along with the market picking up, we've also gotten a lot of new listings. We've gotten 25 in the Village, 8 in the Cays, and 1 in the Shores. The Shores are the high rises where you are. And we tend to see that activity pick up first. Now that the Village is really getting a lot of listings, I think we're going to see that move quickly. They've been anything under $1.5 million seems to be moving within the first 2 weeks, so it's pretty active.
Who's buying them? That's the question I've had over there. How much is owner occupied? How many of these are people buying and they just have enough money where they don't even come in town? I mean, who owns out there?
I'm going to say it's about a 50-50. They're all homeowners. I mean, we have people who are buying and they're buying a vacation home. And they only plan to be there part of the year. But we also have people who are moving up and moving down and trying to get a foot into Coronado because it's a wonderful life. Oh, sorry, that sounded very cliche-ish. But it really is.
A little bit, but I agree.
It's a very nice way of life for a family, for a couple, for someone who's single. The access that you have to everything, to downtown, to the Hotel Del, to the shops, to the restaurants, to history.
I'll tell you, I love telling people that I'm exploring buying a home in Coronado and having them look at me like I'm crazy. Probably because I think the price is way up there. And there's some expensive spots, don't get me wrong. I'm not buying on the beachfront. But there is opportunity to buy there. Coronado Shores, I think, creates a lot of opportunity for people that want to buy. And I don't think people realize how easy it is to get into downtown.
To get into downtown, it's minutes.
Yep.
To the airport is 12.
What I've learned is people there don't necessarily want it to be known how easy it is because it's such a private island. So Bruce, tell us about the historic homes. Ruth Ann, you and I have talked about this on the radio show before. It's something I'm learning a little bit about. So tell us about it and the tour you guys have coming up.
Sure. We have a great historic home tour once a year on Mother's Day, and it's probably one of the best ones in the country, really. And and what we do is every year we highlight 6 or so different historically significant houses in Coronado, and we open up the houses for people to walk through.
What does that mean, historically significant? How do you get that title?
It is, well, it kind of depends on the year, because we have different themes. Like this year, one of our primary theme is to track the 125th anniversary of Coronado. Wow. This year is the 125th years since it was a city. And so we went to a bunch of architects and we said, tell us what the primary architectural styles were that built Coronado. across these 125 years. And so they came up, they caucused, very PhD-ish, they caucused. They came up with 6 or 8 primary styles. And then we picked an individual house from each one of those styles. So if you go to house number 1, house number 2, you will see Coronado in motion across 125 years.
What a great person to align with here with Ruth Ann Fisher, a top realtor down there. So we actually have some of these properties. Tell us what we're looking at. I mean, some of these I know are on the tour. Some of them are for sale. Help me better understand what we're looking at here. So Ruth Ann, you probably would help
This
here.
is not one that is for sale. This is one that I'm assuming is on the tour.
It's on the tour. It's a Richard Requa house built in the late 20s, early 30s. And he was one of the most significant architects in the 20s and 30s in Southern California. And his specialty was a sort of Spanish eclectic, high level Spanish, very detailed work, both inside and out. He contributed as an architect to the expositions in Balboa Park, for instance. And we have a lot of Requas in Coronado, and this is one of them, and it's on the tour.
I'd love to look at some of the other properties that we have. Hopefully they can get those rolling. So which one is this?
This is, I was mentioning the story before we went on. This is a tutor, an English tutor in Coronado. During the 30s and 40s, these were very popular to be built. But this has got a great story. It was a naval officer owned the property in the 30s. He got orders to leave what he was doing here in San Diego and join the corps of naval aviators that were doing blimps, dirigibles, big things. And he got his training, started training in these big stomping Navy dirigibles in the 30s. The plane crashed, and he died. And his wife, who pretty much just left San Diego and Coronado, and her 2 children, returned to Coronado, and with the insurance from his death, they built this home. And
I'm now understanding the historic home tour. This is much different than we're just looking at old homes. We're looking at homes, the story, the history of Coronado. This is almost, for lack of better words, kind of like a big museum outdoor of Coronado, where you get to see and feel different stories. Obviously, you understand what's going on there.
Yeah.
That's
and
pretty
we
amazing.
do a lot of time researching each one of these homes, and then we write them up in a little tiny article in our brochure, so you can relive the history of that home.
And to have an opportunity to go in the homes and tour them. I mean, all of these families open their houses up so that everybody can do that.
Well, the history of Coronado in itself would be a good reason to go on this. And there's, obviously the Navy base there, and that's part of the history of Coronado. So I'm sure it'd be a lot of fun. Now, there's actually some that are for sale as well.
But there's 2 houses right now. This is another Richard Requa. It's 1313 10th. That is one of the historic properties that are for sale. It is not on the tour, but for sale. Gorgeous example of his work, and just a lovely home.
What year was this home built?
1928.
Wow, that was built in 1920. That is a gorgeous home. Now, and then you have one other one that's for sale?
Well, there is another one, the Hanson Mansion, which is also a tutor. This is a house, it's running just under $20 million, but it is a 14-bedroom, beautiful example of a tutor.
Now, this one you actually get to go see?
This one is not on the tour. So
this is what I want to see, your $20 million home in Coronado.
Yeah.
Everybody's been on that boardwalk and sees these homes. Envisions being able to buy them one day. It's tough to get up in that $20 million range, but nonetheless.
Bike right by the thing and take a look at it.
Well, it sounds to me like a really cool way to spend a Mother's Day. You get to see some neat homes, some very historic homes from an age perspective, but you also get to hear the story of the homes, and that's going to tell you a little bit about the history of Coronado as well. Yeah, so that sounds like a lot of fun. Well, Bruce, I appreciate you coming in here.
Yes, sir.
Ruth Ann Fisher, always good to have you in here as well. Thank you so much. If you're interested in the Coronado marketplace, or maybe just going on this historic tour, sounds like a lot of fun for a Mother's Day. Go to DaleCoronadoRealty.com. That is Ruth Ann Fisher's website, and you can learn more about it. She's a great friend of ours, and I hope you visit her and see all the cool stuff she has going on her site. Coming up next, we are